Why then do you live back in the days? Don't be left behind. Join the new normal of digital world. Let radio and television be at your fingertips. Get news and current events, entertainment, sports, kiddies programs, and more at your beck and call on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Just visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all social media platforms. Then you are a global citizen. Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Voice of the voiceless.
It is essential to be up to date on happenings around you, and to make that easy for you, ladies and gentlemen, we present Freshlight, where we bring fresh newspaper headlines to the limelight. Mondays to Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Watch, like, subscribe, and make sure your notification is activated on our YouTube channel. You can also like and comment on our pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Al-IyamoyeTv and radio.
A beautiful morning from this side, and I believe it is wherever you are watching us. Welcome to another interesting edition of Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Today being the 25th day in the month of October, we have 6 more days to back out of October, and I believe you are glad about it. Today will be an exception. We have the Daily Trust, we have the Vanguard newspaper, and we also have the Punch newspaper. These are the newspapers we are going to take a look at this morning. My name is Risqat, Suleiman.
I'm Sowole, Moshood. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Good morning.
On Freshlight this morning, I will be kickstarting with Daily Trust newspaper. On the Daily Trust newspaper front page, we have Kogi Bayelsa Imo governorship polls. INEC chair raises alarm over violence. Page 11 has the details. MTN ordered to pay 57.5 billion naira tax default to federal government. Or page 30 captured this story. Other statements: Adamu Fika dies at 90. Or page 4 has the details. And away from that, on the foreign scene, war on Gaza, UN Secretary General accuses Israel of violating international humanitarian law. It also has some riders, says we must oppose anti-Semitism, anti-Muslims bigotry. Israeli ambassador calls for Guterres' resignation. Israeli police shut down Al-Aqsa Mosque. Page 4 has the details. Coming back home, let's take a trip to Zamfara State this morning. How banditry forced Zamfara residents out of their homes. Page 23 has the details. Senate defends exotic cars for members, says Nigerians roads bad. Page 6 has the details. And away from that, bandits raid Kaduna Mosque, gunned down Imam worshipper. Page 3 has the details. Lastly, on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, Lagos doctor backs life jail for defiling wife's niece. You can find this on page 17. All of these and many more stories you find on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Picking the stories.
My first story on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning: Bayelsa Goba, INEC removes Rivers' name from candidates list. There are more hurdles for Timipre Silva, the governorship candidate of All Progressive Congress (APC) in the Bayelsa State, as the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has released the amended list of governorship candidates in the state for November 11 election, excluding him and his running mate Joshua Maziva. The situation has already thrown the supporters of APC into anxiety, with many comparing it to the situation that prevented the party from governing the state after winning the 2019 governorship election. David Leon, governorship candidate of APC in 2019, was declared the winner of the election and was preparing to be sworn in when the Supreme Court annulled his victory on the ground that his running mate submitted forged documents to INEC. 4 years after Leon's assault to clinch the APC ticket, but it was displaced by Silva. According to the amended list uploaded on the Commission's website on Tuesday, Silvas and his running mate were excluded due to the October 10 Federal High Court that disqualified from participating in the state governorship election. So with details of this, you can pick up the Daily Trust newspaper. It has the headline, Bayelsa Guba, INEC removes Silva's name from candidate lists.
I was picking my first story this morning. I will be picking it from home because charity begins at home. Robbers invade hostels, rape Ogun Varsity students. Some suspected armed robbers have reportedly raped 4 female students at Taisho University of Education, Taswed, Ijagun, Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State. It was gathered that the hoodlums in the early hours of Tuesday invaded hostel at Abapawa, an area of the campus, carried out the heinous act. Deputy Governor of the state, Engineer Noimot Salako Oyedele, alongside the Commissioner of Police, Alamutu Abiodun, and the Commissioner of Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, rushed to the university following the incident. She also paid a visit to the victims before they moved to the Olabisi Onabanjo University Teaching Hospital, Shagamu. Salako Oyedele confirmed that the incident in post of a verified Facebook page and described the incident as distressing and brutal. She said earlier today, Tuesday, after receiving the distressing news about armed robbery at some Taswed hostels and the brutal rape of the 4 female students, His Excellency Prince Dapo Abiodun, CON, directed me to immediately visit the victims and the campus on the fact-finding mission and to pledge the government support in ensuring this doesn't happen again. She said, and I quote, "To read details of this, you can pick the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Robbers invade hostels, rape Ogun Varsity students." Daily Trust has the details.
Lastly, on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, massive investment in education not yielding desired results. FG. Ministers of State for Education, Dr. Yunus Sununu, has lamented that the massive investment in the nation's basic education sector has not translated into desired results. Sununu stated this yesterday in Abuja while declaring opening the 25th quarterly meeting of the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, management with the executive chairman of the State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEBS. The ministers lamented that the basic education subsector was still bedeviled with the learners sitting on bare floor, high rate of dropouts, increased number of out-of-school children, poor infrastructures, dilapidated classrooms building, inadequate learning facilities, and unqualified teachers, among others. The investment so far in education is extremely commendable, but the output is not commensurate, not matching the input. Therefore, we need to do something about that, he said, and I quote. He continues speaking further on the event with the team, redefining national and state priorities for effective basic education delivery. The minister called on chairman of SUBEB to conduct a need assessment of all schools with a renewed determination to justify the federal government's old investment in the state. To read details of this, you can pick up the Daily Trust newspaper. It has the headline, "Massive investments in education not yielding desired results." FG, the Daily Trust newspaper.
Moving forward on Freshlight this morning, let's pick Vanguard newspaper to see what is on the front page. On the Vanguard newspaper, we have tax exemptions waivers to cost federal government 12.4 trillion naira in 4 years. Page 19 has the details. Clerk 6 expulsion of Abia, Imo, Ondo from NDDC. Page 12 has the details. Senate to probe federal government's 11.35 trillion naira TAM of refineries. Page 9 has the details. Still on Vanguard newspaper, moving to still on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, Grand rent debt, we will step on toes, Wike tells defaulters. Page 25 captured this. On presidential poll, INEC must probe while upload of results to IREV failed. Jega, this is coming from Jega, and you can find this on page 4 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Picking the bold headline, Nigeria needs $10 billion annually to fund SDGs. You can find this is coming from the federal government, and you can find this story on the page 20 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. It also has some riders. Funding biggest challenge of SDGs. Private sector must complement government. Federal government must expand tax net for more revenue. Government needs to leverage on technology to improve services. Infrastructure has to be revamped. UN representative says. You can find all these stories on the page 20 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Away from that, alleged anti-party activities. Deputy Speaker, Minister at war. Page 4 has the details. SUVs, we must consider cost, bad roads before approving land crushers. You can find this on page 4 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Federal government extends stays of recall envoys by 3 months. It also has double rider. We've received AIE, but it is not cash backed envoy. 3 months too short. Agreement takes at least 6 months. This is coming from ex-ambassador. All this, you can find this on page 5 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Then let's get to see the column, The Finger of God. You can find the book, this book on the Syria, Vanguard book Syria. You can find this on page 15 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Also, another columnist, this is coming from Afe Babalola. Any politician that does not unequivocally appreciate and advocate for the lens of true federalism is a danger to the Nigerian nation. What does Afe Babalola says there? If you want to read the details, you can pick Vanguard newspaper this morning, and you see it on page 22 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Lastly, on the Vanguard newspaper, let's get to look at the sports page. Oshime Boniface lead list of Nigeria's most valuable players. All of these stories and many more you find on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Going into the details.
My first story on the Vanguard newspaper this morning is straight to Lagos. Illegal waste disposal, 26 persons convicted in Lagos. A magistrate court sitting in the Ikoyi area of Lagos State has sentenced 26 persons to community service for dumping waste indiscriminately in the different parts of the state. Recall that 29 people were earlier sentenced to fine and community service by a magistrate court in Oshodi for engaging in indiscriminate waste disposed at different locations in the metropolis. On the 26 persons convicted, the Environmental Special Offences Court of Lagos State District presided over Magistrate Mark David Amore also imposed a 30,000 naira fine per person or option of community service for engaging in reckless waste disposal across various locations in the state. The environmental offenders were arrested by the enforcement team of Lagos Waste Management Authority, LOMA, in collaboration with the Lagos State Environmental Sanitation Corps, LAGEX, at different locations in the state, disposing of their refuse in unauthorized places between the hours of 9:30 p.m. and 7 a.m. So with details of this, you can pick up the Vanguard newspaper. It has the headline, Illegal Waste Disposal, 26 persons convicted in Lagos. The Vanguard newspaper.
Taking my trip to Kogi State this morning. On Kogi Guba, Ajakuta Steel, Itakwe Iron Ore will boom again. This is not coming from me, this is coming from Dino Melaye, governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Dino Melaye has vowed that the Ajakuta Steel Company and Itakwe Iron Ore Mining Company will boom for economic gains if elected governor of the state. Melaye vowed this vow while addressing supporters at the PDP governorship campaign flag off at Ekene, Kogi State on Tuesday. He stated that Kogi State, we are too blessed to be poor. We are going to be restored Ajakuta State by the grace of God. Ajaokuta Steel was established by the late Sir Sardauna Ahmad Bello. Ahmad Bello is not from the Kogi State, not even from the North Central, yet he came to establish the Ajaokuta and Itakwe iron ore. In our government, we will do everything possible. If possible, we will do a takeover from the federal government. Ajaokuta during our time must work. We must make sure Itakwe iron ore is booming again, he added. The Kogi State governorship election has been scheduled to take place on Saturday, November on the 11th. Former Senate President Bukola Saraki, Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State stormed the PDP's campaign flag off. Saraki announced his arrival via his X page, formerly known as Twitter, at Bukola Saraki on Tuesday. Melaye and Saraki arrived in Kogi State with several chieftains of the main opposition party. Melaye is among the top 3 contenders with Ahmad Usman Ododo of All Progressive Congress APC, Muritala Yakubu Ajaka of the Social Democratic Party. To read details of this, you can pick Vanguard newspaper this morning. Kogi Guba Ajaokuta Steel Itakpe iron ore will boom again. This is coming from Dino Milaye.
Lastly, on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, on the foreign scene, Israeli air strikes killed 8 Syria troops. Israeli strikes killed 8 soldiers in the southern Syria early Wednesday. Syrian state media reported in what the Israeli army said was a response to early rocket fire. Persistent rockets and artillery exchanges with the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah and the allied Palestinian faction across the Israel's northern borders with Lebanon and Syria have raised fear of a new front in Israel's war with Hamas in Gaza. Around 1:45 a.m. 22:45 GMT Tuesday, the Israeli enemy carried out an aerial aggression from the occupied Golan Heights, Syria state media said. The strike also wounded 7 soldiers and caused material damage. The Syria Observatory for Human Rights said 11 soldiers were killed, including 4 officers. The Britain-based World Monitors said the strike destroyed armed depots and a Syria air defense radar and also targeted an infantry unit. To read details of this, you can pick on the Vanguard newspaper. It has the headline, Israeli air strike killed 8 Syria troops, the Vanguard newspaper. On this note, we'll go on a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll give you the last details on the Punch newspaper. Do stay with us. Thank you.
Thousands have been disappointed severally in their bid to seek greener pasture abroad. To those quack in the traveling agency business, it is a rocket science. That is not our case at Tausaf Travels and Tour. We have in-depth details on how to successfully, without stress, help you process and secure your visa to anywhere in the world. Do you want permanent residential visa, visiting and tourism visa, student visa to places like Europe, America, Asia, Africa? It's no big deal to us at Tausaf Travels and Tour. Our years of experience and expertise speaks volume for us. Let's process and secure visa for you to UK, USA, and Canada within a twinkle of an eye. We offer Hajj and Umrah services to our Muslim faithfuls. What are you waiting for? Consult us at number 9 Tausaf Central Mall, Sholanke Street, behind Laroy Hotel, Abiola Way, Abeokuta. 0802 733 0900 or 0806 578 4060. Stop wasting money. Pay for peace of mind. Talk to Tausaf Travels and Tour.
Gbogbo aláfẹ́ tó gbayì tó fẹ́ wọṣọ yìí ṣoge tó pàgbàmù ló ń kọjá lọ sí House of Zayana. House of Zayana, the name I know when we talk of top-notch fashion, quality materials and class. House of Zayana, lẹ́tí máa rójúlówó Turkey wears, Egypt and Malaysia clothing, Dubai, àwọn designer bags lóríṣiríṣi, àwọn ìtẹ̀lẹ̀ bàtà tó jiná tí wọ́n fawọ́ original ṣe, àwọn aago kájọ́ tó ń ka wákàtí ọjọ́, designer sunglasses and perfumes, pẹ̀lú àwọn gbogbo nǹkan tóbìnrin àsìkò fi ń gbafẹ́ lò gbà. Mo débẹ̀, ojú mi ń ṣe kámi, èmi ni ó rà, èmi ni ó mú. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin mùsùlùmí ẹlẹ́sìn tẹ́ gbòógì gbọ́n pa fashion tẹ wá nílò jàlábíà hijab àti àbáyà lóríṣiríṣi House of Zayana lẹ́ẹ̀ tí rí gbogbo ẹ̀ rà House of Zayana wà ní 52 ọlọ́run ṣògo road adjacent Redeemed Church Agape Parish ọlọ́run ṣògo Abẹ́òkúta lórí Instagram House of Zayana 08165688618 House of Zayana ilé ìtajà tá a ti ń tojúlówó aṣọ àti nǹkan aṣaralóge tí ń gbéni níyì.
Still there, and thanks for being part of us this morning. Don't forget the program is still Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTV and radio. This is where we get to look at different national dailies. We've gone through the Vanguard newspaper, we've checked the Daily Trust newspaper. Now I'm picking the last newspaper on Freshlight this morning. We'll be taking the Punch newspaper. On the front page of the Punch newspaper, we have Senate probes 11 trillion naira refinery repairs summons Kyari. You can find this on page 7, and this is coming from Akpabio. EFCC chair order staff to declare assets. Page 7 has the details. And away from that, reps fall CBN's forex ban lift NECA kicks. Page 21 has the details. Picking the bold headline this morning, on multiple taxation, Tinubu's panel asks government to drop 190 taxes. OPS blames states. Page 2 has details. It also has double riders. Panels okay, turn levels says 200 taxes burdensome, lobbies national assemblies and states. President endorsed tax reforms panel to address FIRS pledges implementation. You can find all this on the page 2 on the Punch newspaper this morning. And away from that, DSS snaps suspected terrorist wife, recovers 150 AK-47 rifles. Page 14 has the details. Taking my trip to Lagos State this morning, Lagos cancer doctor Olaleye bags life jail for rape. You can find this on page 4 and 5 on the Punch newspaper this morning. Lastly, on the Punch newspaper this morning, slain Nigerian student, Philippines police file murder cases against suspect. Page 4 and 5 has the details. All of these and many more stories you find on the Punch newspaper this morning. Going into the details.
My first story from Ogun State this morning. Aggrieved customer attempts to set bank on fire in Ogun. A man identified as Sodiruddin Urufai has been arrested for attempting to set fire to the Guarantee Trust Bank building situated in the Okelewo area of Abeokuta, Ogun State on Tuesday. Punch Metro gathered that the suspect claimed he decided to raise the bank after his several complaints that an unauthorized 500,000 naira was deducted from his account fell on deaf ear. Punch correspondent further learned that he was said to have been advised by the area commander Metro Abeokuta that he should allow the bank to follow its procedure in unraveling the circumstances behind the deduction when he reported the matter. However, Punch Metro learned that the matter took a turn for the worse after the bank told him that he had been defrauded. After receiving the news from the bank official who attended to him, our Punch correspondent learned that the Rufai was said to have gone back to bank with petrol and began to sprinkle it on banking hall. While the drama was unfolding, some customers scattered for safety, while others, along with bank security staff member, rushed the Rufai to ground before he could use the lighter in his hand. To read details of this, you can pick up the Punch newspaper. Aggrieved customer attempt to set the bank on fire in Ogun. The Punch newspaper. You can also go to our Facebook page. You'll see the video there since yesterday.
Still on the Punch newspaper, and let's get to see the business page. Business page, we have Israel-Hamas war affecting regional economies. This is coming from International Monetary Fund. The International Monetary Fund has said the raging war between Israel and Hamas is already battering the economies of the nearby countries. The managing director, IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, discovered this on Wednesday to Saudi Investor Forum. You look at the neighboring countries, Egypt, Lebanon, Jordan, where the channels of impact are already visible. Jejova said that at the Future Investment Initiative in the Saudi capital Riyadh, the Palestinian militant group Hamas staged a shock attack on Israel on October 7, killing more than 1,400 people and taking 222 hostages, according to Israeli authorities. Israel has responded with withering air strikes and near-total land, sea and air blockage of Gaza, where the Hamas-run health ministry says 5,791 people have been killed in the war so far. Speaking a day after Wall Street Titans, Georgieva warned that the war could deal a heavy blow to the global economy, especially if it draws in other countries. What we see is more jitters in what has already been an anxious world, Georgieva said. You have tourism-dependent countries. Uncertainty is a killer for tourist inflows. Investors are going to be shy to go to that place because of insurance. You have to move goods. They go up. Risk of even more refugees in countries that are already accepting more, she said, describing the potential economic cost for countries in the region before taking specific risk. To read more of this, you can pick Punch newspaper this morning. Israel-Hamas war affecting regional economies. This is coming from IMF.
Lastly, from my side, on the Punch Sports column this morning, Paris 2024, Falcons battle Ethiopia without Wadrom. The Super Falcons will be without the head coach, Rade Wadrom, as they face Ethiopia in the first leg of the second round of the 2024 Women's Olympic Qualifying Games in Addis Ababa today. Wadrom, whose current contract ends October 31st and is currently negotiating his extension with the Nigerian Football Federation, according to the source, has personal commitment and could be available for the return leg in Nigeria. In his absence, assistant coaches Justin Madogo and Agumano Jigwe and Awua Makwala will take charge of the team. The first leg of the double elder encounter will take place at Abebe Bekila Stadium, Addis Ababa on Wednesday, while the return leg will be held at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, on Tuesday, October 31st. To read details of this, you can pick up the Punch newspaper. Paris 2024, Falcons battle Ethiopia without Wadrom.
Still on the Punch newspaper and going through the Punch Metro page. Taking my trip to Lagos State this morning. Lagos begins bridge repairs after Punch reports. Renovation of the pedestrian bridge at the 7-Up bus stop at Lagos end of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway has commenced. The reconstruction began a week after Punch Metro reported on the October 17th that the bridge posed threat to lives as the majority of the railings were missing. Punch Metro observes that while coming from Ojodu Bega area inward Lagos, one would hardly see that the bridge was in a bad condition due to an advert banner that covered it. However, the poor state of the bridge became obvious coming from Oworonshoki inward Bega. However, during a visit to our correspondent on Tuesday morning, it was observed that the bricks were used for the reconstruction, while caution signals were placed around the bridge for pedestrians to be careful as work began on it. A pedestrian, Alabi Kolawole, who spoke with our correspondent, expressed gratitude to the Lagos State government for the innovation, adding that it will save many lives. He further stated that I must really appreciate the Lagos State government for this. Also, I read the initial report of the danger the bridge posed in the Punch last week. I believe this led to the intervention of the government. The renovation will save the lives of many passing bridge and encourage others to make use of it, he said, and I quote. To read details of this, you can pick the Punch newspaper this morning. Lagos begins bridge repairs after Punch report. Punch newspaper punches it out this morning. And this is where we call it a wrap on Freshlight this morning. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for another interesting edition of Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. I remain Risqat Suleiman. Thanks for being part of today's show.
And hi, I'm Sowole Moshood. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv. Do join us tomorrow again on Freshlight. God bless Nigeria, Ogun State, and Al-IyamoyeTV and radio, all the staff and the directors. Goodbye.